The House will come to order. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Representative Dan Pepone. Does this work? He doesn't know how to turn this on, so hold on, let me make sure it's okay.
Will you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Kohler, please take the roll. Hey, Representative Pepone. Don't quit your day job.
Representatives Becker, Buck, Buckner, Conti, Corum, Court, excused, Del Grosso, Dorr, Duran, Everett, Exum, Fields,
The court roll is relaxed, by the
Fisher,
way. Just in case that was...
Foote, Garcia, Gardner, Giroux, Hamner, Holbert, Hollinghorse, Humphrey, Joshi, Kagan, Krafttharp, Labuda, Landgraf, Lawrence, Lebsock, Lee, May, McCann, McLaughlin, McNulty, Melton, Mitch Bush, Moreno, Murray, Navarro, Nordberg, Pabon, Peniston, Pedersen, Primavera, Priola, Rankin, Rosenthal, Ryden, Sane, Salazar, Schaefer, Scott, Singer, Sonnenberg, Stevens, Swam, Zabo, Tyler, Behill, Waller, Williams, Wilson, Wright, Young, Speaker Ferrandino. Not really, 64 and 1.
With 64 members present, one excused, a quorum is present. Representative Dorr for the... This is extra day. Can you handle this? Extra day, extra pay? I don't think that works. You're a public servant. Representative Dorr.
Mr. Speaker, I move the reading of the journal for Friday, May 2nd, be dispensed and approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No! The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Representative Hamner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And it is a new day, and it is a birthday. So hold on a second. We're going a little out of order because usually we just, and I need the Capitol Choir to come on down. But usually we only recognize birthdays for our members. But you know what? We have staff staying here with us tonight into the wee hours of the next day. And did you know that Carrie White is now celebrating her birthday? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Terry. Happy birthday to you. Yay!
Madam Majority Leader, do I see you somewhere? Representative Pabon, can we move out of order for... Representative Pabon.
Guys, let me see.
What?
Do we have more announcements? Do you really need an announcement?
Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move we proceed out of order for consideration of third reading.
Seeing no objection, the House will proceed out of order for consideration of third reading, final passage. Mr. Colo, please read the title to Senate Bill 212.
Senate Bill 212 by Senator Ulibarri, also Representative Lee, concerning clarifying changes to provisions related to best practices in bond setting.
Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move for the passage of Senate Bill 212 on third reading and final passage.
Representative Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in regards to SB 212, which is being cast as a cleanup bill relating to bail bond and the process of determining eligibility for release of people charged with crimes. Now, I recognize that there have been amendments to the bill in the Senate, and that the re-engrossed bill is being lobbied as having support for all interested parties, the defense bar, prosecutors, and bail industry alike. Now, early this morning, or I guess now yesterday morning, it was brought to my attention that the representations regarding unanimous support are inaccurate. During the judiciary hearing, it is my understanding a specific statement of support was made. The statement was that Bail USA, a company involved in the surety bail industry, supported the efforts and representations that have become SB 212. I am given to believe that the statement was made in error and not by a person authorized to represent that company. So I've spoken to the industry and the company representatives who are acting with authority, and they have informed me that in no fashion do they or their colleagues in the industry support the bill. However, they are accepting the bill and its amendments because it is believed that due to some of the political winds involved, their bill is destined for final passage. So I would ask members just to take this into account as you vote. This does not have unanimous support from industry. Thank you very much.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question for the House is the passage of Senate Bill 212 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Colo, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representatives Del Grosso, Kagan, Garcia, McNulty, Swam, and Vigil. Close the machine with 39 aye votes, 25 no votes, 1 excused, and 0 absent. Senate Bill 212 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Colo, please read the title of Senate Bill 209.
Senate Bill 209 by Senators Heath and Sheffel, also Representative Tyler, concerning the requirements for permissible investments by insurers and loans secured by interest in real estate.
Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move for the passage of Senate Bill 209 on third reading and final passage.
Seeing no discussion, the question for the House is the passage of Senate Bill 209 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Colo, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representatives Buck, Everett, Humphrey. Representative Everett. Close the machine with 62 aye votes, 2 no votes, 1 excused, and 0 absent. Senate Bill 209 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Colo, please read the title of Senate Bill 206.
Senate Bill 206 by Senator Stedman, also Representative Singer, concerning criminal record sealing provisions in connection with relocating the record sealing provisions in new part, clarifying when an arrest record can be sealed, and making other clarifying changes.
Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move for the passage of Senate Bill 206 on third reading and final passage.
Seeing no discussion, the question for the House is the passage of Senate Bill 206 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Kohler, machine, members, vote. Representative Everett. Close the machine with 64 aye votes, 0 no votes, 1 excused, and 0 absent. Senate Bill 206 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Cole, please read the title of Senate Bill 191.
Senate Bill 191 by Senator Talksharp, also Representative Pabon, concerning the procedures for resolution of workers' compensation claims.
Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move for the passage of Senate Bill 191 on third reading and final passage.
Seeing no discussion, the question for the House is the passage of Senate Bill 191 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine with 36 aye votes, 28 no votes, 1 excused, and 0 absent. Senate Bill 191 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Assistant Majority Leader, can you lay over the next bill?
Mr. Speaker, I move to lay over Senate Bill 176 to the end of the calendar.
See no objection, Senate Bill 176 will be laid over to the end of the calendar, just because Representative Court is not here. I always think it's good if the sponsor's here to vote on their own bill. Mr. Kohler, please read the title to Senate Bill 127.
Senate Bill 127 by Senator Roberts, also Representative Dorr, concerning statewide radio communications in connection with directing the Department of Public Safety to perform a communications needs assessment, recreating the Consolidated Communications System Authority's new standing Public Safety Communications Subcommittee under the Homeland Security and All Hazards Senior Advisory Committee and Division of Homeland Security Emergency Management and that Department making appropriations.
Very well done, Mr. Kohler. Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move for the passage of Senate Bill 127 on third reading and final passage.
You've heard the motion. Mr. Kohler, open the machine. Members vote. Representative Garcia, close the machine with 64 aye votes, 0 no votes, 1 excused, and 0 absent. Senate Bill 127 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 184.
Senate Bill 184 by Senator Schwartz, also Representative Quorum, concerning oversight of the industrial hemp program.
Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move for the passage of Senate Bill 184 on third reading and final passage.
Motion heard. Machine open. Members vote. Representative Lee. Close the machine with 64 aye votes, 0 no votes, 1 excused, and 0 absent. Senate Bill 184 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 186.
Senate Bill 186 by Senator Schwartz and Kerr, also Representatives Tyler and Hamner, concerning the aggregation of efficiency projects in small communities in order to attract private sector investment through performance contracting.
Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move for the passage of Senate Bill 186 on third reading and final passage.
Seeing no discussion, the question for the House of the passage of Senate Bill 186 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Del Grosso and Swam. Close the machine with 38 aye votes, 26 no votes, 1 excused, and 0 absent. Senate Bill 186 is passed. Co-sponsors. Close the machine. We'll proceed to our next order of business. Special orders, second reading of bills. Representative Lee.
House now resolve itself into the committee of the whole for continuation of special orders.
Seeing no objection, the House will proceed. The House will resolve itself in the committee of the whole for consideration of special orders. Representative Lee will take the chair.
Committee will come to order.
Microphone.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee amendments will not be read unless requested, as they are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and not read unless requested. Bills will be laid over upon the request of the majority or assistant majority leader. The court rule continues to be relaxed. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 190, Senate Bill 197.
Senate Bill 197 by Senators Jones and Herpin, also Representatives Foote and Kraft-Tharp, concerning high-performance transportation and enterprise transparency.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none.
What?
Representative Kraft-Tharp.
I move Senate Bill 14197.
to the bill.
Thank you. Good morning, members. When last we spoke, there was a question about transportation and the dedication to transportation. Just wanted to mention, Representative Del Grosso, that P3 projects have been approved by state legislators in 9 states and are successful. This is a great bill. I urge you to vote. Let's start this morning out. Vote yes. I urge you to vote yes. Come on.
Mr. Minority Leader, seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 197. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The ayes still have it. Senate Bill 197 is adopted. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of Senate Bill 180.
Senate Bill 180 by Senator Cafalas, also Representative Swam, concerning the Colorado Dental Health Care Program for low-income seniors and in connection with requiring a post-enactment review of the implementation of this act and making and reducing appropriations.
And members, let's note that this will also be Representative Swam's swan song as a representative. So please give him your due attention. Representative Swam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, this is a good little bill. I move Senate Bill 180 along with the Health Insurance and Environment Committee and the Appropriations Report.
To the Appropriations Committee report.
Members, the bill has no fiscal note. It simply moves the old age dental program for low-income seniors from the Department of Health to HCPF. So there is no net fiscal impact. So that's what happened in the Appropriation Committee. They had to approve that transfer of funds. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report?
Yeah, it is. Jeez.
Is there any further discussion on the health insurance report?
Oh, no. Go ahead. To the bill.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of the health insurance report. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I didn't. Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The report is adopted. To the bill. Representative Swam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, good bill. Vote yes.
Representative Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Swam, with your laser light focus, I'd like to know why this bill has a safety clause.
Representative
Swam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Sonnenberg, good question. I wish I knew the answer.
Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Swam, at least you gave an attempt to answer why there's a safety clause.
Continue, Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Representative Swam sings this is the last time that you will have a bill up there. We have appreciated your laser-like focus over the last couple of years, and we're going to miss you, sir.
You have to acknowledge the applause. I wasn't going to call on you until they were done. Representative Swam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, I really think I ought to get some kind of a royalty on that phrase. So, all of you who have continued to use it without my permission, you're welcome to come down and make a contribution. So, although, in fact, I guess maybe I might just have to turn around and give it to the speaker, but whatever. So, thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure, and been a pleasure to serve with you folks. It'll be sweet sorrow. Thank you.
Representative Priola.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Representative Swam, don't want to let you off too easy. I do have a question about this bill. Moving the senior dental program to DHCPF, isn't that just moving it to a rat hole?
Representative Swam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not going to dignify that question with a response.
Is Representative Sane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And with Representative Swam at the helm on this bill, I'm sure we won't have any death rays, rat holes, neutron bombs, or or RTD is involved in this bill. So I urge a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 180. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is adopted. Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was busy showing off my Pledge of Allegiance certificate. I move the committee rise and report.
Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
The House will come back to order. Mr. Kohler, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Mr. Speaker, Committee of the Whole begs leave reports in consideration of the following task bills being second reading thereof and makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bills 1389, amended 1395, amended 1398, amended passed in second reading in order to gross place on counter of third and final passage. Senate Bills 2, 3 amended, 5 amended, 12 amended, 14, 23, 99 amended, 124, 155, 159, 179, 180 amended, 188, 190, 192 amended, 197, 201, 203, 210. Passed on second reading in order to revised place on counter of third and final passage.
Mr. Cole, oh, sorry, Representative Lee.
I move the House adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Very well said. You heard the motion. There are amendments to the desk. Mr. Cole, please read the Stevens amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Representative Stevens moved to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole to reverse the action taken by the committee in not adopting the following Stevens Amendment L005 to Senate Bill 210 to show that said amendment passed and that Senate Bill 210 as amended passed.
Representative Stevens.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Members, imagine my horror yesterday when I found out that the Commissioner of Insurance permits a carrier to issue, to continue a health benefit plan. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
I move the cow.
Stevens amendment?
I'm sorry, I move the amendment.
Okay.
The Stevens amendment.
To the
sorry,
amendment.
To the Committee of the Whole. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, yesterday, we had a situation that our insurance commissioner is permitting a carrier to issue or continue a health benefit plan that doesn't comply with the federal act. And I believe that it's important that we exempt us from the federal act to apply permanently to all health benefit plans issued in this state. This took place yesterday. And I think it's an appropriate amendment here to this bill. And I would urge and I vote.
Representative Kraft-Tharp.
Thank you so much, Representative Stevens. Members, please vote no. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question for the House is the passage of the Stevens amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Kohler, please open the machine, and members proceed to vote.
Christine, we'll be okay. We're going to just do it after everything's done.
Representative Lebsack. Close the machine with 28 aye votes, 36 no votes, 1 excused, and 0 absent. The House, Representative Stevens' amendment to report committee is lost. Representative Buck, you are not fined. You ran too fast to get that fine. Mr. Cole, please do the quorum amendment to the report of the committee of the whole. The first quorum, L15.
Representative Quorum moved to amend the report of the committee of the whole. Diversity action taken by the committee in not adopting the following quorum amendment L015 to Senate Bill 192 to show that said amendment passed and that Senate Bill 192 has amended passed.
Representative Quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I move the first quorum committee of the whole.
To the amendment.
Thank you, members. This is something that we talked about earlier. We've had a great deal of debate on this. And by passing this bill, what we can do to save jobs in Colorado, we certainly feel that this amendment allows the department to protect groundwater, protect water rights, protect citizens. This is something the department already does. But by passing this amendment, it gives the opportunity for communities in the Uravan Mineral Belt to survive. Should this amendment fail, members, those communities will not survive. I originally started, I told you a little bit about the community of Natarita and Nukla. And I have a letter from Chamber of Commerce, Economic Development in Natarita. It was addressed to Representative Becker and the Transportation Committee members. And I understand, Representative Becker, we get a lot of emails and we don't always have time to read them. But I think it's important that you know what's happening in those communities. So, it says, Dear Representative Becker and committee members, the Nukla-Natarita Area Chamber of Commerce created the West End Economic Development Corporation, WEEDC. Yes, we have some fun with the name. Last fall, in an effort to bring industry to the area, including uranium and vanadium mining, when Black Range Minerals devised the ablation method that could be performed at the mine sites, it created several positive outcomes for the mining area. Because of this mining method, which is, by the way, is currently allowed under federal and state rules to be considered a form of mining, this means no new requirements for licensure. The departments have the ability to do this now. The ablation method reduces the ore so that up to 90% of the truck traffic is reduced. This is a huge human health and safety issue addressed by this mining method, particularly on a mining road, since dust abatement would be considerably reduced as well as That's the number 3 pollutant in the state. The ablation mining process also could use to rework mill and mine waste sites. It's over 1,000 in those areas. It's a huge concern of reclamation and remediation. The ablation method, this is the big one for the chamber. For all the positives that come with this new technology, which would stabilize and reduce the cost to produce ore per pound, creating a stable ore stream with the ability to ward off market fluctuations and breaking the historical boom-bust cycle of this industry. With uranium and vanadium being the one natural resource we have in abundance, This is a huge opportunity. There are significant questions from the mining and milling industry about Senate Bill 192, that ablation would be considered a milling function being performed at the site. Again, this is not the case under current regulations, thereby slowing the process and increasing the cost significantly. The Senate, God, I hate to say this, but it's true. The Senate has seen their way to amend the original bill that would allow this mining method under current regulations. However, when they amended the bill, the timeline requirements for Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment was excluded. The timeline is critical since extended time to receive licensure is very expensive and creates significant roadblocks for industry. This brings up the second concern for this bill in regard to CDPHE. There is no funding for this program to CDHPE. It is difficult to get any type of request to this agency due to the lack of manpower or absence of prescribed timelines, costing the state commerce constantly, jobs in the area, meaning them most of the entire western slope in the state, most notably the west end. Please introduce the prescribed timeline. I will not go on because that was done in committee, and we thank you for that. Please understand we live in this area and want the commerce that occurs here to be safe. Water is particularly precious commodity due to the desert environment. We are not advocating poor water quality in exchange for jobs. We just wonder what the impetus is behind the action. Do we need more regulation, or is it sufficiently covered in current federal and state law? We believe we are moving forward rapidly with clear objectives that are attainable and sustainable. Legislative action such as 1492 has the ability to move not only our area forward in this regard, but further Colorado as an industry leader working well in the environment concerns at the forefront. Respectively, Diana Reams. Members, this is the story of a community that is begging. It's kind of ironic. 99 years ago today, my father was born. You might think about that. You know, it would be a great celebration if he were alive. But frankly, he is just as dead as those communities in the Yerevan Mineral Belt are about to be. They cannot survive if the Senate amendments continue to stay stripped off. They will not survive. In working with the governor's office in the economic development, product called vanadium, we've talked about this earlier, $3 billion worth of vanadium in the Yerevan Mineral Belt. There's also about $2.5 billion in uranium. Now, that is the only place in the world, the Yerevan Mineral Belt, that we talk. And it is high and dry as this floor, most of the time. Well, mines are dry. There's no groundwater. There's no wells. There's no people that need the wells. But they need this to bring those jobs back to that community. You might ask, vanadium's not affected by this bill. That's what I was told. Once again, I remind you, it's in the same formation. You can't remove one without removing the other. It's a safety factor. It is safe. We've been told that this has to be, this is milling. NRC, I have a letter on my desk, says no, this is not milling. It falls on another factor. There's a huge difference, day and night. I understand that probably the decision is in. I have no expectations of this bill passing. But I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. You're going to reject jobs billions of dollars to the Colorado economy, a product that has the ability to work hand in hand with our windmills, our production, electricity production on the Eastern Plains. It works hand in hand. With the vanadium redox battery and using that product coming from Colorado, we have the ability to bottle the wind. We can store that electricity. It's proven technology. It's used in Asia today. Stabilizes the power grid. It's a fantastic product. God, I didn't mean to put everybody to sleep, but I see I have. I apologize for that. But to me, this is not something that I want to sleep about. Matter of fact, I lose sleep over this.
Representative Cormier, you have 30 seconds remaining.
Thank you. Members, don't tell this community that you don't give a damn about them. Let the professionals at the Colorado Department of Health, Division of Mining Safety, and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission determine the fate of these individuals. Thank you.
Representative Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a letter I'd like to read as well. Dear Colorado State Representative, I'm a lifelong Republican, an Arabian horse ranch owner in the Tallahassee area of Fremont County, and believe that our local water source will be in jeopardy if experimental uranium exploitation technologies are used without the proper regulatory framework in place to ensure complete understanding and management of the risks. I am concerned that these technologies are not understood well enough by the corporate proponents, much less by either the state or the federal regulators, to be routinely deployed in our rural residential community. The potential radiological risk to our domestic water wells, as well as the risks to livestock and local wildlife, require that they be regulated under the Radiation Control Act and CDPHE radiation control regulations, concurrently with the Colorado mining regs, as is in situ leach. I could go on, but I think you get the point. This is about protecting the health, safety, and welfare of rural residents. It is not about vanadium, it is about uranium, and it just sets a regulatory framework to help protect our groundwater, and it requires cleanup, continued cleanup of the Cotter Mine milling site that is a Superfund site. I ask you to vote no on this amendment.
Representative Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, again, we're simply extending a license for a new process, a new technology, in the same manner that every other mining technology is licensed when it deals with radiation. The bill does not prohibit these new technologies or set higher standards than are applicable to any other uranium concentrating or milling technology. So we're talking about making sure that our groundwater, our rivers and streams are not contaminated with radiation from this technology while extending the same licensing that has been in existence for some 20, 30 years. So I would ask for a no vote on this amendment.
Seeing no further discussion, the question for the House is the passage of the first quorum amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Kohler, please open the machine, and members proceed to vote. Representative Fields, Rosenthal, and close the machine with 27 aye votes, 37 no votes, 1 excused, and 0 absent. The first quorum amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole is lost. Mr. Kohler, please read the second quorum amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Representative Quorum moved to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole to reverse the action taken by the committee not adopting the following quorum amendment L009 to Senate Bill 23 to show that said amendment passed and the Senate Bill 23 as amended passed. Representative Quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I move the second quorum amendment to the Committee of the Whole.
To the amendment, Representative Quorum.
Thank you, members. What this amendment does, it actually just says, yes, this is an important issue. We need to look at it and study it. Where it only affects the western slope, it's the only ones affected. We're the only ones with skin in the game. 72% of the water is represented in the state of Colorado in this amendment. Colorado, 80% of the water in the western is in Colorado. 72% of the water in Colorado is affected by this amendment. Colorado River District has come out in unanimous opposition to this bill. Club 20, 22 counties of western Colorado have come out in opposition to the bill, would be in support of this. Grand Junction Chamber of Commerce. Members, the people who have the knowledge in this, those farmers and ranchers that know which end of the shovel's doing the work, say this is the way to do it. We can do this. I think if we were to do a study on one project. I really wanted an amendment earlier that said, augmentation. If you use this, use augmentation from the Trans Mountain diversions to pay back that water. Members, this is a good amendment. This is something that we can really do. It gives the people the knowledge on the western slope that have the boots on the ground. They know how this has the ability, the probability of damaging water rights. Now, the problem with damaging water rights, you have to go to water court and prove you've been damaged. Most cases, a minimum of $100,000. That community is starving out now. They don't have $100,000. There's people over on that side that support it, absolutely. I met some from the Upper Gunnison. They are landowners, absentee landowners, multimillionaires who have a hobby ranch. Their livelihood does not depend on the ability of their ranch to make money. Their ranch is a tax write-off. They like this. They can bring their friends from New York and Atlanta and Florida, California, all over, and look at my showplace. But the guy that's got the mortgage doesn't know if he's going to have enough money, enough crop to satisfy the bank. He's nervous about this. I talked about John Harold earlier. John Harold, Olathe sweet corn. I think he's the largest sweet corn producer in the state of Colorado. Sells sweet corn all over the United States, gets premium grade, $2 above anybody else's market. It's that quality. He's called. He was asking members of this side to call him. I gave the phone number. I don't know if he got any calls or not. But he's concerned that we're changing the Colorado water law on a whim. Members, this is a dangerous, dangerous situation to start out. Because once the state of Colorado owns that water, what happens? Is it just continue? Is this the first step to a public trust, where a bureaucrat decides the best use of water? I hope not. Our priority water system has been successful for close to 150 years. We know what we're doing. Let the people who know what they're doing study this, rely on the engineers. Let's see what we're doing before we put something in statute that creates so many problems that we can't fix. Thank you.
Representative Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I'll be brief. This bill was introduced opening day. 116 days later, we still can't find a way to get it right. We can't find consensus. Let's send it back to a committee before we force ag producers on the West Slope to spend $100,000 to protect their water, which will ultimately, for many of them, mean that their kid can't come home to farm and ranch with them. That's money that doesn't need to be spent. Let's figure out what the answer is. Let's send it to the Water Resources Review Committee, and continue to hash that out and let those people that deal with water on a regular basis find the answer. Ask for a yes vote.
Representative Rankin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We've talked about the water infrastructure. The longtime water leaders in this area opposed the bill. We've talked about the fact that there are other ways to solve in-stream flow. We've even talked about the fact that, you know, I've related stories to you about people who've worked on this issue for 30 years, trying to get more water in the streams while maintaining the flow. I just want to talk about one thing directly related to this particular amendment, and that is this interim water committee. I mean, it sounds like just a committee and a study, but it really isn't. It's really the place where a lot of things come together. We have an excellent structure right now of these water roundtables and water districts who are working very hard to do inputs to a water plan. And I think that actually we have a unique opportunity this year, because that water plan is coming together, to solve this difficult problem of keeping water in the stream and also promoting agriculture, irrigation, and use by municipalities in balance. Because we've never had this momentum before. We've never had this number of people and citizens from all walks participating in water and thinking about water. I actually think we'll be missing an opportunity if we don't do this, to do it right. Because the experts who've been in this for many years tell us that this is not the right way to solve this problem. So I'm actually appealing to you on a little bit different string that says, you know, it's not a problem, it's an opportunity. We can get this right. So I would ask you to vote for this amendment, which keeps the idea alive for sure, and then let's see if we can. And you know, we've been working on this for 30 years. We don't have to fix it tonight. We really don't. We have to fix it right. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I ask for your yes vote on this.
Representative Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask for your no vote on this amendment. This is a great night for reading letters. I'm going to read another one briefly. The Western Landowners Alliance is an organization of agricultural landowners in the Intermountain West who are working collectively to protect land and wildlife, restore watershed health, and protect wildlife corridors in order to support economically vibrant rural communities and to keep working lands working. WLA strongly supports the creation of additional tools for landowners to use to enhance production, increase resource efficiency, and diversify their income sources while contributing to ecological health. We believe Senate Bill 23 is a great idea because it encourages water efficiency projects, provides another tool for state landowners and others to collaborate on projects, on and on and on. I'm just going to remind you briefly of some of the supporters of this bill. Colorado Cattlemen's Association, Colorado Water Congress, Southwestern Water Conservation District, the Upper Gunnison Conservancy District, Western Resource Advocates, Western Landowners Alliance, Northwest COG, Lower Arkansas Valley Water Conservancy District, Environmental Defense Fund, Nature Conservancy, Trout Unlimited, on and on and on, Denver Water, and others. This bill merely gives irrigators an incentive to conserve water without running the risk of abandonment. and is intended to help people in agriculture and the environment and has associated economic benefits. It is a purely voluntary program. I ask you to vote no on this amendment.
Seeing no further discussion, the question for the House is the adoption of the second quorum amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Cole, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representatives Exum and Ryden. Close the machine with 30 aye votes, 34 no votes, 1 excused and 0 absent. The quorum amendment to the report of the committee is lost. There are no further amendments. Mr. Corley, please open the machine and members proceed to vote on adoption of the report of the committee of the whole. Representative Vigil. Close the machine with 64 aye votes, 0 no votes, 1 excused and 0 absent. The report of the committee of the whole is adopted. Announcements and introductions. Attorney Representative Labuda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of Finance Committee, this is a reminder for Monday morning, 7:45 a.m. at Racine's for breakfast. Hopefully our chair will be over her strep throat and can join us, but we look forward to seeing all of you there. Thank you.
Representative Tyler.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Transportation Committee, listen up. We've done such good work this year, we don't have to meet today.
Representative McCann.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and members of the Health Insurance and Environment Committee and the Public Health Committee. We will also be at Racine's on Monday morning at 7:30. So we can just have a call of the House. Anyway, we'll see you then.
Seeing no further discussion, Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, I want to thank everybody for all their hard work today. This has been quite a trial for us the last couple of days, and you've done very, very well. And I know that our work will pay off, and hopefully next week will be a little bit easier. Please leave your brown file folders off of your file cabinets, if you would, please, so our clerks don't have to stay late. And with that,
they're already at home, but yes, it's nice.
Are they already at home?
Yeah, they're already. Hopefully
really
asleep.
glad to hear that. So I move to lay over the balance of the calendar until Monday, Cinco de Mayo.
Seeing no objection, the balance of calendar will be laid over to Cinco de Mayo. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House stand in adjournment until 10 a.m. Cinco de Mayo.
Seeing no objection, the House will stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Monday morning.